And then this one like really solidified.
Like,
oh shit. Okay, this is someone who actually knows what they're doing. They really know what they're doing.
It's like the idea that it's a bunch of men doctors show up. She's missing something, but I don't know what.
Yeah, right.
None of them know what it is.
Yeah, no, that's like, what the fuck is that? You know, like, where did you go to medical school? What the hell's medical school? Like, medical what?
My good man. She's missing the bottom part of her body. Huh. I guess she is, isn't she?
Oh, those are called legs, aren't they? Like,
welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Shadows and Sightings, a paranormal comedy podcast where we talk about all things spooky. I'm Taylor.
I'm Nick.
And we're going back to the Victorian era this week. Talk about one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time, Jack the Ripper. So before we start this episode, just a quick content warning. The things we're going to talk about are gruesome murders involving women.
Yeah.
So if that's not your vibe, that's not your bag, well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, pretty graphic stuff. This dude was a monster.
Big time. Not the first, since H.H. Holmes was one of the first, but one of the first modern sensationalized media stories about a
serial killer.
A suspected serial killer.
Yeah.
They don't know if it was just one guy.
That'd been crazy.
Nobody knows.
Feels like
they don't even know if it was a guy.
Yeah, could have been a woman. Could have been a dog. Probably a gopher.
It could have been a gopher.
Yeah. Like imagine like you spend all those. Yeah, imagine you spend all these like all that time and resources and energy, and you like he's like running down the alley, and like all the cops are like, oh, finally we got him. We got him cornered, boys. We're gonna get him this time. And he turns around and like
he still got the high collar cape and the top hat.
Yeah, top hat and everything.
Monocle.
He's running with the bag and all that, and it's like, oh yeah, we totally got him. And then they have him cornered in like a pub or something. And he turns around, it's a fucking gopher. What the actual fuck? You know, like it's just
we can't let this get out,
right? And then everything that you know about Jack the Ripper was just completely made up.
Totally made up.
They completely made up this fictitious person,
which it very well could be in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, and it was fucking gopher the whole time. Wouldn't that be some shit?
Gopher the Ripper.
I think there's anybody out there that like does striptease. And their bit is like Jack the Ripper, but it's like Jack the Stripper. I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
There's some weird shit out there.
Tell me, what does that look like in your wildest fantasy? What does Jack the Stripper look like?
It's like a doctor, and it's like a stripper, but he's wearing like the pea coat and the top hat.
So like a Victorian Englishman.
Yeah, and but he opens up the jacket, and it's just like.
His dong's out.
Maybe, I guess if that's the kind of, what do they call it?
Well, if he's stripping, I mean,
well,
eventually the dong is going to come out.
Eventually, I don't think it would be full on, dong as soon as you open up the coat. You got to build it up.
Okay,
you got to get to that point.
There was allegedly 5 murders. So I guess he's got to remove 5 articles of clothing.
5 articles of clothing to
before
kind of get to that. Old long schlong Johnson just dangling in the wind there. Yeah, I think maybe. I don't know. I just feel like it's a great opportunity that people aren't taking advantage of.
If anybody out there goes to Ren fairs, I know there is a very popular act going on now named Jacques the Whipper. The guy does choreography with a whip to different songs and stuff like that. But yeah, Jacques the Whipper.
That's specific. But
name one thing at the Ren Fair that those people do that isn't specific.
I was going to say, but at the Ren Fair, everything's fair game.
Exactly. Yeah. Fair game.
Fair. Yeah. I have yet to meet this pickle priest. I know you said you met him.
I met him, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it because I don't think he's normally around here. He's usually getting paid to be at other Ren Fairs, but this one he was just at. So
interesting.
Once in a lifetime experience. Never forget it. Cool. I'm super stoked. We're going to go down to the Virginia Fantasy Fest at the end of May, which is like a first year. I think this is the first year they're doing it, but it's like Ren Fair adjacent.
Sounds like a good time.
It was like $20 for a ticket. So And it was buy one, get one free because I guess they're just trying to get as many people there as possible.
Yeah, probably. Get that exposure.
So, yeah, it sounds like a good time. It's only like 2 hours away. So we might just make a weekend out of it and stay down that way.
So, you were talking last week about the excitement of cons. That now that you've discovered the world of like Comic Con, cons and all. They're doing the tattoo con.
That sounds cool.
We went a couple of years ago. And it sounded exactly what it was like. I think we have a couple pieces of artwork in the house
it's in the house
with that we got from there. Yeah, you walk in, it's like literally hundreds of tattoo artists and shops, and I think still have business cards too from when we went years ago. And and some of them are like, yeah, come here, I'll give you a tattue for $1,500. Like
$1,500?
No, 50. It's like $100.
Okay, buddy, just calm down over there.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that kind of money with me.
And no, it's a great time. Kind of thing that would I go again? Maybe if I had like the sole intention of like getting some artwork done. Yeah. Because you have to like scope it out first and see, okay, what artists are going to be there, and then maybe if you see somebody, then okay, that might be worth the time.
And then you got to hope that they're not going to be bombarded with people all day, I guess.
I kind of feel like if you reach out to them beforehand, like, hey, I see you're going to be at, this comic or this, tattoo con kind of thing. I wouldn't mind getting some artwork there done. Could we schedule something, the day of like the event, gives you exposure, and then it kind of gets you on the docket with them. Yeah. And they might respond and be like, yeah, it's stupid. No, you got it. First come, first serve. Don't contact me again.
I'd go to a tattoo convention. I'd be like, give me a tattoo of the Mothman statue popping his pussy.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Do you think there's like artists out there that are like ethically like, I can't tattoo that on somebody?
Okay.
Or do you?
I don't want to see his pussy. Like,
no, I know. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, do you?
He's throwing that ass in a circle.
Oh yeah, of course. She's like twerking.
Yeah.
He's just like just throwing it back.
Yeah. But specifically the Mothman statue because he's caked up.
He really is.
So I need that.
Yeah, you haven't. Have you been or you haven't been there?
I've never been there.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember if you had mentioned that you were going there or you had been there. Or
I would love to go there.
Yeah, well, I want to go, but like I feel like it would be awful. Okay, I feel like the tourism aspect of it would be awful. It's one of those
things where if you go, you might be let down. That's all.
Yeah,
because there's nothing to do there.
Yeah.
Besides like when the Mothman Festival's going on, and it's like, again, how much can I really get out of just straight up Mothman things? I mean, I love Mothman. Don't get me wrong. No. And I love the idea of the Mothman Festival.
Yeah.
But when there's like 6 restaurants in town to eat at, I don't know.
They don't have the capacity for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people there that live there, maybe some of them embrace like the festival. At this point
you have to.
Yeah. But then like they're probably like really shitty though too. They probably like hate
maybe.
It. Some of them. I don't know.
I know I'm one of those people like in Gettysburg. I'm a real shitty local.
Really?
Oh man, I fucking hate the tourists.
But you're a tourist.
I'm not a tourist. I live there.
Okay, just because you visit there like every other day.
No. That's different. I live there.
It's like, see that dumpster?
I know that town inside and out.
It's my town.
Yeah, I'm not a tourist. You get these people and you see them driving around in the battlefield with their Vermont license plates or their Idaho license plates or whatever, and they don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. They're just in the middle of the street looking at monuments, and it's like, this is a working road, right? Like, this is how people get from point A to point Z. This is not just a Sunday stroll, and just get a tour guide and go see it.
To be fair, number one, the roads are kind of small.
Not if you know which ones to take.
And number two, like, I kind of feel like you have to slow down and really take in the sights and the scenes there.
You do. So stop your car and get out and go look. There's plenty of places to pull off.
I guess. I mean, maybe.
Don't get me wrong. I like when people go to town and they're supporting all the local businesses.
Yeah.
They're getting hyped about the battle because I'm one of those people. But at the same time, I'm like, God damn it. Learn how to use the fucking traffic circle. It's not that difficult.
I don't think that's a Gettysburg issue. I think it's a people issue. Because like the traffic circles in DC are awful. They're terrible.
True. That's true.
Like, they're terrible.
Like, I get what you're saying, but it's like, I feel like if these people had any exposure to a traffic circle like that any other time, they would know how to work it. These people just show up and they clog the whole thing, and then it turns into a whole clusterfuck. And then I'm mad, and you're mad, and nobody's happy.
I mean, yeah, it is true. There is something about traffic circles that
the people just lose their brains.
Yeah, they get pretty stupid pretty quickly. It's like
IQ drops 150 points.
Or like four-way stops in general.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on four-way stops.
Four-ways are freaking...
I got to go through 2 of them to get to Allison's house. And every day, it's a motherfucker that has no idea. They sit there and wait for more traffic to come. I'm like, you're the only one here. Just go. No. I got to wait for this car show.
I love it when it's like they clearly get there first, right? Okay, so you're next because you got to the stop sign, and then you stop, and then they're like looking at you, and then you have to wave them, and then they're like, "Oh no, you go!
You were here first, buddy." Like, what are you?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, what a mess! What a mess four-way stops are.
a lot of times, like I give people a certain amount of time, and if you don't make a move in 0.53 seconds, I'm going.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and it's funny because then once you do that, then they get mad. So I was like, oh, so you knew that you had the potential. You knew that you had to take action, and you didn't.
And you didn't. You're a damn dirty tourist.
And now you're getting mad at me because I made the jump, because I took the leap. Yeah, no, it's...
Also have to deal with on Route 30 when you get off of 15 to go back towards all those four-way stop signs. There's a lane that goes straight, and there's a right lane that only turns. How many times do you think people get in the right lane thinking that it still goes straight, only for them to have to clog up traffic to get back into the left lane? Constantly, even though there's plenty of signs saying that you cannot do that.
Yeah. There's a couple spots around, like even like in town, that it's been there for years, but over by on 40, across from like the Pizza Hut right there. So like if you're going down 40 towards, like coming from town, going towards like 70, like the highway and like the dealerships and all that, like that.
Oh,
the road that like takes you up to Robinwood or Mount Etna.
Yeah.
That like if you make that left, you get to Eastern and like that. Yeah, that road there where it's like it's a double turning lane, and the right lane keeps going straight, but the left lane also keeps going straight. But you can also make that left hand turn. I can't tell you how many times people have gotten in. Like,
yeah, well, I'll say I will agree, because, and this goes to, the worst one is the traffic circle at HCC, because not only is that a traffic circle, there's like 4 lanes of traffic from each different way.
Yeah.
So once you're going through it, you have the option of turning right or going through it, and then that lane instantly turns into a right-hand turn lane only.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you guys did way too much with this. What was wrong with the just going straight through?
I remember when they put that in.
Stupid.
I remember when they put that in there. That whole area is
very
like
specific.
Blowing
locations.
That whole area is like blowing up.
But speaking of HCC, the Comic-Con is there this weekend.
Ooh.
So we should go on Sunday.
It's on Sunday?
Well, it's Saturday and Sunday, but I'm free on Sunday, so we should go on Sunday.
Yeah. We're going, where are we going? We're going to Harper's Ferry Brewing on Friday.
Nice.
And
I always wanted to go there. I've never been.
What? We've been there.
No, we have not. You see, you do this.
No.
You make these things up in your head where you think that I was there with you, when in fact you never even invited me.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Potomac Ridge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what. Yeah. Oh, you never been to Harper's Ferry? Dang.
Not the brewing company.
It's pretty bad. Like, I have these memories. I was like, you were fucking there.
Not only was I not there, I didn't even know you were going, because you never said a word about it.
I don't even remember why we were there. We went one time. I don't think it was a birthday thing. You know what? Actually, it might have been my mother-in-law's like another birthday a couple of years ago, and then she just wants to go back because it's nice.
Yeah.
Got good food there.
Looks nice.
You need to go during the fall.
Oh yeah,
because like
it overlooks.
You see like the valley. It has like the overlook. You see the whole valley and like all like the water and stuff. Yeah, let's put that on the calendar now to go back during the fall. Oh hell yeah! And the beer's pretty good.
Yeah,
got good pizza.
It's a brewery, so I would hope that the beer's at least okay.
I don't know. The pizza's good. But they have, I don't know if they still do or not, but last time I was there, on the counter, they have like a cigar humidor, and they had like a little selection, and like they have like the old timey like handle cutters where it's like you pick the cigar and then you stick it in like a little handle cutter and you cut it right there,
like a paper cutter looking thing.
It's kind of like that. It's sort of. It's like it looks. Yeah, it's just like a handle, and there's like a little cutter thing. You just stick it in there and, whoosh, and like cuts it for you. So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, the selection was all right. It was okay.
It's not a cigar place, I guess.
It's not, yeah. So you can't get like
give them the pass.
I can't judge them. I mean, like, maybe could you do better? Of course,
we all could.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll deal with it. Like, I just smoke these mid cigars, but it is what it is. No, it wasn't terrible.
I'm really surprised Harper's Ferry doesn't have a tobacco company where they just make their own cigars.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool to buy the leaves and try it ourselves.
Dude, I don't know if I told you. We booked a cruise for next year.
Oh, nice.
And one of the excursions you can do is going to roll your own cigar.
Where's it at? In Bahamas?
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty stoked. I'm going to roll me up a nice big fatty.
Oh, yeah. So is this your first cruise or?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
What's funny is like the entire family's going. But it started as me and Allison got invited by her parents to go.
Okay.
Because if we got this big room together, it was going to be way cheaper, which it is, which is fine.
Yeah.
So her parents, her two sisters, and us two are in this like 3-room suite thing on the top of the ship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When I told my dad and my stepmom,
of course,
they were going, the next day they booked their cruise to go at the same time as us.
All right, I got feelings about that, but whatever.
When they booked their cruise, my uncle and aunt booked it too, so they could come. So it turned into and then we're like, well, we might as well just invite Allison's dad and her stepmom to come too. So they may or may not come too. So now it's like a full family. And of course, Bob is all excited about it. He's booking dinners. He's with a travel agent like, oh, what's your cruise reservation number? We're going to get the meals together. We're going to get this together. It's like, you guys can do that all you want to, whether or not we show up, because we're going to want to do stuff on our own.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun.
I get it. Like, no shade at all. Like, that's awesome that you guys.
They just love cruising, so I knew that they were going to want to go.
I kind of feel, but real talk, I kind of feel like once I'm at Bob's age, I'm probably gonna be doing the same thing.
Just cruising all the time.
Yeah, fuck yeah! It was amazing. It was great, and oh my god, you get all the food you want. Yeah, I mean, the sleep stuff is okay. Like the beds, they kind of suck ass, but
my only real fear is seasickness.
It's not that bad, but I guess it's like subjective. I guess it depends on the person.
Like, I feel like the ship's going to be so big that it's like you're not really going to feel it moving per se.
I mean, you feel it.
Once I'm like the rocking.
We didn't really feel that too much. Honestly, there was only really one day, and it was the first day where we were coming back. Like, the captain was booking it. He was like, okay, let's go ahead and like get back on it. So he was like flying it. Pretty much. He's like, all right, we got to get you back to fucking Baltimore. And that, like, it was crazy that day. Like, it was like pretty choppy. And I think maybe they were trying to beat home like a storm or something, so they were trying to like hurry up and get past it. That was pretty crazy. Like, to the point where, like, and down in the mess hall where all the food and all that, there were people sitting there walking, and it's like, like the dude was like with his walker. I'm trying to sit down, and he had his walker and his plate of food. It was like, dude, like, what are you doing, man? Man. But other than that, it wasn't terrible. Yeah. It was pretty good.
I'm just stoked to see the Caribbean. Like, honestly,
it's nice.
Go south and
where are you going?
I don't know.
Like, where like what the stops are?
I want to say maybe Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I think it's a Norwegian cruise, so wherever the fuck they go.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
I'm hoping we get to at least. I heard Nassau is nothing to see now, but like I kind of want to see it just for the sake of me replaying through Assassin's Creed 4 with the new version of it coming out. I'm like, I want to play this game again, and I just want to see Nassau for what it was.
Nassau was cool. So we had like an excursion thing. We had like an excursion thing that like kind of led us to like a private beach there.
Yeah,
which was cool. So we had like a tour bus take us over there. So we really didn't like see like the town like itself. Like, we drove through it and all that, and they kind of did like a little tour.
I'm sure nothing is there that was there when pirates were there, but
no.
Kind of like how the things that we talk about today are no longer there for Jack the Ripper.
Nope.
Which I swear we will talk about.
Get off track.
But if you made it this far, thank you guys for joining us for our infamous intro. Sometimes we just got to sit back and catch up for a little bit because, we're just two buds hanging out.
Chilling.
We got lives, we got families, and, so we just don't get to hang out as friends as much, it seems, anymore. So nice to just get stuff off your chest for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
If you're still with us, thank you guys for listening to this episode. As always, you can find us on Facebook, Shadows and Sightings, a Paranormal Podcast, Instagram, Shadows and Sightings Pod, or shoot us an email, shadowsandsightings@gmail.com. We're always looking for your feedback, and like I mentioned on the last episode, I'm going to start putting out there the Cryptic Corner takes. So if you have anything that's spooky happened to you during the week or in your life, or something happened to you in your childhood that you want to share with us, or anything like that, you can be as public about it as you want, or if you can be as private about it as you want. So we always look forward to hearing your spooky tales. But speaking of Cryptic Corners, I think we've got a pretty good one this week. So Nick, why don't you head us off here?
Yeah. So if you guys have been following the news, there has been a case of missing and or dead scientist. It's over the past few years, at least 10 scientists or researchers tied to sensitive U.S. programs. So things like nuclear energy, aerospace and defense, and anti-gravity, or self-propulsion systems. They have either died under unusual circumstances or they have disappeared completely.
Without a trace. So who exactly are these people? So far, they've been individuals that are connected to high-level government or defense research. We actually talked about one of these. General William Neal McCaskey.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago on one of the episodes.
Yeah, he was a former commander of the Air Force Research Lab who had oversight of highly classified aerospace projects. He walked out of his home on February 27th, 2026, leaving behind his phone, glasses, and even his wearable devices. He has not been seen since.
Yeah, just got up and left. Just one off grid. So that was kind of like the last one that kind of made headlines. But I'm guessing somebody was kind of combing through and they're like, wait a minute, I'm starting to see a trend here.
It's a big pattern.
There's like a pattern going on.
Yeah.
So other cases include, and Taylor will give like the specific names of like some of these individuals. We're not going to talk about all of them, but there was a scientist that was shot outside his home. There was an engineer who also disappeared during a hike. There was another researcher who they found with a quote unquote a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So their official death was suicide, but of course they're like, okay, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And, over the span of a couple of years, this is starting in 2022 and then, roughly in 2026. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have Melissa Cassius, an administrative professional at Los Alamos National Laboratory, who vanished while walking in New Mexico in June of 2024. Stephen Garcia, a government contractor who worked at the Kansas City National Security Campus. He was last seen on surveillance footage leaving his home on foot with only a handgun in August 2025. Monica Jacinto Reza, a prominent aerospace engineer and director at NASA Lab, who vanished during a routine hike in Los Angeles in June of 2025. There's been no trace of her since. Michael David Hicks, a 25-year veteran of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. While his family noted he had medical issues, his death in 2023 is being re-examined as part of a broader pattern. Carl Grillmeyer, a Caltech NASA astrophysicist who was shot to death outside of his home in February of 2026. So those are just a couple of the ones that give you specific names. Like Nick said, it's at least 10 to 11 scientists. I don't know if they've classified everybody.
I'm not sure.
But it's just very strange that all these people are going missing, like just walking out of their houses and never to be seen again.
And, of course, you can probably go down rabbit holes of conspiracy theories, but I think it's fair to say that within like that community, one of the things are, okay, they're being followed or pressured or they know something, and that's why they
don't want something getting out.
Yeah, so either somebody's like hushing them up or,
taking them out.
So
the government's response has shifted from unfortunate coincidences to active federal probes. And a few reasons why this is leaning into shadow cabinet territory for many is most of these individuals held high-level clearances in fields like nuclear fusion, asteroid tracking, and advanced propulsion, like Nick had mentioned. Several individuals like McCaslin and Garcia simply walked away from their lives on foot, leaving all their technology behind, a behavior that theorists suggest indicates they were either avoiding surveillance or were intercepted. And the House Oversight Committee recently sent letters to federal agencies demanding answers, stating if these aren't coincidences, they represent a grave threat to national security. Psychologists and skeptics argue that this is a classic case of apophenia, finding patterns in random data, noting that with thousands of scientists in the U.S., a few deaths and disappearances per year are statistically inevitable. However, when you lose a retired general and a rocket lab director in the same 6 months window, it's easy to see why the secret government threads are trending.
Sure.
So,
yeah,
there you go.
So we'll leave it to you guys. Leave it to you guys to kind of deduce the situation, to kind of, lead to your own conclusions. But yeah,
as always, use critical thinking skills and don't believe everything you see.
Yeah. Yep.
Like we do.
Yeah. I mean, I believe everything I see. Santa Claus is fucking real.
Yeah. So is the Easter Bunny.
Oh yeah. And
working governments that only care about the interests of their citizens.
Man, if that's a fucking cryptid, like there's no other.
Yeah. Maybe the most elusive thing in all of history.
Yeah, right? Hasn't been seen since.
Now the Cryptic Corner's out of the way, and our catching up is out of the way, it's time to get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast. Going back to the Autumn of Terror in 1888 with Jack the Ripper. And as always, we kind of like to start this with general questions to each other. So Nick, you kind of wanted to do this episode. You mentioned it in the last episode while we were covering H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
Anything specific draw you to Jack the Ripper?
I mean, I've always had a general interest in Jack the Ripper. I mean, obviously, he's not like a cryptid or anything. I mean, it's spooky.
It's kind of a cryptid.
Never
been proven.
Never been proven. I guess if you want to get technical about it, yeah. But he definitely has been creepy. He's just always been like that mystery. I think I was a little kid when I first heard about him. I remember the first pop culture reference that I ever experienced with Jack the Ripper was in Duke Nukem's Zero Hour for N64.
Oh shit!
He's actually one of he's kind of like an Easter egg where you go back in time as Victorian Duke Nukem, and you're fighting through the levels, and you come across this scene where there's a lady screaming, and you walk in there and she's just covered in blood, and then Jack the Ripper just shows up. And you're fighting Jack the Ripper in the streets of London.
Damn.
And, it was a little sub
Shout
boss.
Out to Duke Nukem.
Yeah, it was a little sub boss.
Of all things in a Jack the Ripper episode, I was not expecting Duke Nukem to show up.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah, that was such a great fucking game.
I think I only played Time to Kill.
Time to Kill.
Yeah. And even then, I wasn't allowed to play it until I got older because obviously.
Oh yeah, that was not a game that I should have been playing at all. I'm pretty sure, I'm convinced that was a mistake on my parents' part.
Oh yeah,
because I remember, what do you want for your birthday? I was like, I want a video game where you're fighting aliens. That's all I said, and I didn't even ever heard of Duke Nukem at all. And I guess either my mom went to the store and was in GameStop and they're like, "Hey, what game do you have that
where you shoot aliens?
Where you shoot aliens? Oh, well, right now this bad boy right here is the number one on the market."
Thinking it was for her, not for her.
Yeah, exactly.
6 or 7 year old kid.
Yeah, because my mom probably wasn't reading that shit.
My mom,
she wasn't reading that shit. She was like, she's like, "Oh, great, okay, you think he'll like it? Oh, he'll fucking love it." Yeah. And he probably bought it, and then it was probably a phone call. Yeah, I bought him this game, Duke Nukem, or whatever. Dad was probably like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I don't care. And then,
2 days later, there you are sitting on the couch playing it, going into the strip club.
Going to the strip club, yeah. You're going into the strip club. Going to the strip club, you find the little secret room that has freaking posters all over the wall with just women in thongs. Yeah, I was like, wow, what is this?
Yeah. I remember when I got it. My mom made my uncle at the time who was living with us play it first before we could play it. And he's like, yeah, they can't play this game. So what she did was she put it on the top of, in our basement, we had little shelves that go around almost to the ceiling of the room.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that was a thing that was, I guess, popular back in the 90s.
Dude, yeah.
Or the early 2000s. So they put it up on one of those shelves. They can't get it. They can't play it. It's called chairs. We got a chair. Waited for everybody to go to bed. We just sit and play it. And it was like, yeah, what an experience.
Oh, such a good game.
Those were the days.
Such a good game.
But anyways, Jack the Ripper.
But yeah, Jack the Ripper. So yeah, that was probably my first like early, and then like, and of course like shows like Unsolved Mysteries back in the day. They all did episodes on things like Jack the Ripper. So what about you?
You ever see the Batman version where he's like Victorian Batman and he's like fighting Jack the Ripper? Like,
Bat by Gaslight or something like that.
I think it was Gotham by Gaslight.
Gotham, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that he was like the villain.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And like he tried to kill Catwoman and Catwoman fucks him up.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it turns into like Two-Face or something like that.
Or he's like the Joker or something like that. Or
something along those lines,
yeah, okay. That's cool.
That was really cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper's always just been one of those things that's in your zeitgeist of, I know who it is, I know what it's about, but I never really thought too much into it. One of my favorite wrestlers, Finn Balor as the Demon, came out to a Jack the Ripper themed entrance one time when they did NXT TakeOver back in like 2016. That was sick. Okay. But yeah, just the top hat and the long peacoat cape kind of thing with the cane clocking on the cobblestones. I don't know. It's always been a powerful image in my brain of what Jack the Ripper was. Yeah. Whether or not that's accurate or not, nobody knows. Nobody knows. But yeah, that was probably my earliest exposure of Jack the Ripper. I remember watching the movie with my dad too. There's a Jack the Ripper movie. There's a movie that came out like either like the late 90s or early 2000s where essentially it was a guy trying to figure out who's like Jack the Ripper, and pretty self-explanatory. I want to say the guy that plays Jack the Ripper was the guy that played Bilbo in the Lord of the Rings. Oh, okay. Not young Bilbo, like the old guy. The old guy. OG Bilbo. I think it was him. I could be wrong, but I could have swore it was like, that's sick. He's like the doctor, and the whole movie it's like he thinks then it's like one of those like, oh fuck, it's him or it's not him, you know, like the whodunit kind of thing, and like But I always thought that'd be a cool idea. It's like Scream, but Jack the Ripper. Yeah. Anything you know about Jack the Ripper before you started digging into this research? Like you had mentioned, it's kind of like a zeitgeist kind of thing where he's like, he exists. I know about him. A lot of it was kind of just new, honestly. I always knew that there was speculation that he was probably a physician or at least medically trained to some extent, because I didn't know that. Oh, really? Yeah. That part I knew, or at least that was like the running theory, because the way that he was able to carve up some of the victims and remove some of the organs, it was like, okay, this is somebody who like knows what they're actually doing. It's not like they were violent, gruesome murders, but they were almost like calculated violent. Yeah, that's the part I did not realize. I thought it was just a guy coming up, slashing throats and ripping entrails out. Not like actually surgically removing organs and stuff out of somebody. So that was new to me. Mm-hmm. And of course, like the fact that they feel like they never actually caught him. Yeah, supposedly. But I did see something semi-recent, and maybe we'll talk about it semi-recently, that he that they think they solved the mystery finally of who actually was. Yeah, we'll definitely have to touch on that then. Yeah, so I guess we'll start at the start. Like I mentioned, it was the autumn of 1888 in the Whitechapel district of London's East End. The killer's pseudonym came from the Dear Boss letter sent to the Central News Agency, even though many historians believe that the letter was a hoax by a journalist. In 1888, Whitechapel was a dense, impoverished slum filled with rookeries, or slum housings, extreme crime, and over 60 brothels. The Autumn of Terror began in earnest in August 1888. While several women were attacked during the period, 5 specific victims are widely accepted by historians as the work of a single serial killer. Another thing I didn't really realize before doing this research, I thought it was he only targeted prostitutes. Apparently that's not the case. They were not necessarily prostitutes. They were just women who more than likely were just homeless. Yeah, just like the vulnerable, essentially. I guess we'll talk about it, but like how many actual people were murdered? Canonically, there were 5 people murdered. So you had Mary Ann Polly Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. The Ripper's signature involved a specific terrifying progression. Most victims had their throats slit from left to right. In 4 of the 5 cases, the killer performed abdominal mutilations. and several organs, including a kidney and the uterus, were removed with such precision that investigators believed the killer had significant anatomical knowledge, leading police to look for doctors, surgeons, or butchers. Coincidentally, there has been over 100 suspects have been named over the years, and the three most prominent theories are Aaron Krasminski, a Polish barber, Montague John Druitt, a barrister and teacher, and Francis Tumblety, an American quack doctor.
Then there's also, to kind of piggyback off of that, there's like the royal conspiracy theory, which involves Prince Albert Victor. Mm-hmm. And essentially, there was a claim that it was a cover-up by the monarchy. Widely considered unlikely, but it is popular. So let's go ahead and pivot and talk about some of the women, like the five, women that were killed. So starting off with Mary Ann Nichols, who is considered the first victim. On August 31st, they found her with her throat cut and, the abdominal mutilation. And she's often, considered the first Ripper victim.
She was a mother of 5 who had separated from her husband. She was described as a lost soul who struggled with drinking. On her last night, she was seen shortly before her death, intoxicated and boasting that she had found a beauty of a bonnet and would soon have the money for her lodging. Her murder on August 31st established the Ripper's signature, 2 deep throat cuts and abdominal mutilation.
Damn, like cutting her throat twice. Just got to make sure she's actually like,
double tap.
Yeah, double tap. And, while we're at it, let's go ahead and, let's get some ab work done.
We'll just cut the stomach open, see what's in here.
Yeah, her injuries suggested speed and confidence. So whoever did this did so quickly and knew what they were doing. Yeah. Likely killed within minutes.
And also she was intoxicated. Like some of these other women that we talk about were easy targets. I mean, they can be on you before you even know that they're there. So can't defend yourself when you're drunk.
Yep. What a horrible way to go.
Just hammered drunk standing outside a London brothel, and the next thing you know, you got 2 throat cuts.
Oh my god, dude, that's like terrifying. Just to imagine.
Some guy just walks by and
right,
and you're just like, what? Just
and then you just collapse because you can't even realize it's like what has happened hasn't even like clicked yet. That must have been so terrifying. To be like during that time frame back then.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine.
Like what it was to like walk around. The streets of London.
We'll get to the other 4 here real quick before we because we could just talk about that for an hour.
for sure. So the next victim then was Annie Chapman, age 47, and she was murdered on September 8th, 1888, over by the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street.
She was known as Dark Annie. She was a widow who had once lived a relatively stable life before the death of her daughter, and her husband's alcoholism led to her downfall. She earned a meager living doing crochet and selling matches. Which, that kind of, like, you sell matches?
It's probably like you got to think back in the day, that was probably like a relevant trade.
Like, how do you make the matches yourself and then sell them?
Probably.
Interesting.
Or being like a candle maker back then, you probably made bank.
Oh, sure. I like that she made a living doing crochet.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, back then, like, look at these doilies.
People love that shit.
That's like the Gucci of doilies back then. Yeah. The fucking Black Annie.
I'd crochet that shit for you.
Fucking here you go. Look at that top hat.
A crocheted top hat.
Yeah, right. Like, you get that guy's how that's legit, but it's not crocheted like this. Yep.
On her final night, she was kicked out of a lodging house at 2 a.m. because she didn't have the 4 pence for a bed. Her murder was the first to involve the surgical removal of an organ, her uterus, which escalated the panic in London.
So, this, like Taylor mentioned, at this point, the first murder, which was like a month before.
Was in August.
In August.
This one's in September.
Well, I mean, it was only about a week before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, they find this first murder victim. Okay, whatever. But then they see her and they're like, wait a minute. Okay, that first one, whoever did it, like they kind of knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And then this one like really solidified. Like, oh shit. Okay, this is someone who actually knows what they're doing. They really know what they're doing.
It's like the idea that it's a bunch of men doctors show up. She's missing something, but I don't know what.
Yeah, right.
None of them know what an Icarus is.
Yeah, no, it's like, what the fuck is that? Where did you go to medical school? What the hell's medical school? Like, medical what?
My good man. She's missing the bottom part of her body. Huh. I guess she is, isn't she?
Oh, those are called legs, aren't they? Like, is that what they're called?
Get out.
So her murder occurred just after dawn, which, increasing or had an increased risk for that. So
yeah, what strikes me is that they kicked her out at 2 a.m. because she didn't have the 4 pence, so like 4 pennies or whatever the fuck, to stay in the bed. Like, it's already 2 a.m. Like, why are you kicking her out at 2 a.m? What difference does it make? She's been there all night, more or less. Now.
Times are tough, man.
And then you got to be like that shelter owner or whatever you call it. He's like finding out that she got as soon as you kicked her out, dude. I would feel like shit.
Oh, murdered as soon as you kicked her out. Yeah, like, oh my god. I'd be like, yeah, that's on your conscience, bro. That's on you, dude. Like, you suck face. So I think this is like the first. After this happened, I think that's when people started like to kind of like really start to panic a little bit.
Yeah,
they're like, okay, this is turning into something,
right.
or the potential to turn into something. So the next person was Elizabeth Stride. She was 44, and her death was September 30th, 1888. So roughly about 3 weeks later. And her body was found, or the murder allegedly occurred at Dutfield's Yard on Burner Street. She was a Swedish immigrant, had worked as a domestic servant and possibly a prostitute, known as Long Liz.
I don't know. It says because she was known for telling elaborate stories about her past, including surviving a famous shipwreck that she likely wasn't on. So did she get the nickname Long Liz for telling like tall tales?
But probably.
Or was she just like a tall girl? So they just called her Long Liz.
Or both.
Like maybe.
Or both, like a double whammy. I don't know. Possibly. For her specific death details, only her throat was cut. There was no mutilation.
Yep, she's the only victim whose body was not mutilated.
So likely interrupted before escalation. So yeah, that's like the theory behind that.
Yeah,
he went to kill her.
Theory.
Yeah, he went to go kill her, did it, but then something occurred.
I read that it was supposedly somebody with like a horse and buggy or a pony and cart or something was coming in the back gate.
Gotcha.
And then, like, I guess he just
probably bolted
out.
Yeah, like
parkoured his way out of there.
Yeah, they got out of there. Witnesses reported seeing her shortly before her death. I mean, like, in the whole where you can kind of approach this one murder this is kind of one of those things where, okay, the first 2 murder victims, there's kind of like a signature at this point. Yeah. Okay, cuts the throat, mutilates something. Yeah. So then the theory is very very intentional. The theory with this one is potentially, was this just like a random like other killing?
Yeah,
because the person didn't get, like the signature wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So that's,
or was it a completely different person?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like a completely different person.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying.
Yeah, like
not Jack the Ripper.
Not Jack the Ripper, somebody else. Because
I thought you meant like this is a totally different person as opposed to the first 2 were like specifically targeted. This was just a random person.
I get what you're
this
saying.
Guy. I get this girl.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, the theory that like this was a completely other person than Jack the Ripper that killed them.
Yeah, but what's intriguing is, like I mentioned, that's the cause of the double event theory, because later that same evening, Catherine Eddowes was murdered. 46 years old, an intelligent, spirited woman who had a long-term partner and children. She was famously arrested for public drunkenness earlier on the night she was killed. So again, also hammered. She was released from the police station at 1 a.m. once she had sobered up. What's with these people kicking these women out at 1 and 2 in the morning? Oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. All right, fuck out of here.
Yeah, fuck off. Yeah.
She was released from the police station at 1 a.m. once she had sobered up. She was killed in Mitre Square less than an hour later. The most audacious murder, as Mitre Square was on a beat patrol by police every 15 minutes. The killer took her kidney and a piece of her ear. So this goes back to the signature kill.
Yeah, he's like taking something as like a trophy or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really interesting to me that this was a heavily patrolled street every 15 minutes and they still got away with killing this girl, cutting her open, taking a kidney, and chopping her ear off.
It had to have been like calculated. So he was probably like off in like an alley somewhere. It's like when you play a video game, there's like a pathway that like these like NPCs take or whatever, and you like figure out like the Assassin's Creed
when you're
basically.
In Eagle Vision, you see the guards doing their
little like patrols. So it's probably like that. So he saw it and was like, wait, okay. And then it was like, all right, once they make this pass, whoever I see next, that's the person I'm going to get.
This business.
Yeah.
Get got.
Gonna get got. Yeah, like give you the business. Probably said that too. Like, who the fuck are you? I'm Jack the Ripper, and I'm here to give you the business.
What business is that? Murder. I don't think I want what you're saying.
I so decline, sir. I don't know. Respectfully
I'm neither a woman
decline.
nor a prostitute.
It's like,
however, I may do something for you for $20. But yeah, it's just interesting to me that 1 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the morning, you know that there's a alleged serial killer on the loose attacking women at these specific times of the night. And you're just like, no, I don't care about that anymore. Just get out. You're sober enough. Walk home.
I feel, I mean, people were jerks back then.
The world was different back then.
I guess, maybe like less empathy.
I feel like that's
across
not an excuse,
the board.
though.
Yeah, no, it's like you're kind of just a piece of shit at that point.
What's the harm in letting her stay until dawn, till 6 a.m?
Yeah, I bet you that probably was like a case of an argument that they probably brought up with them. Like, hey, there's like a killer out there right now. Like,
she'll be fine.
It's not my problem.
Yeah, it's like, what's the worst that can happen? We got a 15-minute patrol beat going on here.
Yeah, like those poor they probably did like voice and raise concerns, and those guys are probably, I'm sorry, that you were born without a penis. Not my problem.
Sorry to feel that way. But.
Yeah, get out. Like it's I wouldn't put it past them.
And then the final and I guess maybe the most gruesome murder was Mary Jane Kelly, who was age 25. So unlike the other ones that were all in their mid-40s, this is a young girl. She was the youngest and only victim killed indoors. She was reportedly quite beautiful and claimed to have a more refined background than the other women, though much of her history is shrouded in mystery. Because she was in her own room in Miller's Court, the killer had hours of privacy. This resulted in the most gruesome scene of the 5, a total frenzy of mutilation that marks the end of the Ripper's known activity.
You know what? Now that you say that, going back to like that Duke Nukem encounter in the game, it's probably was this one that it was based off of, because you come across him and he's in a room. Okay, it's like in like a hotel or whatever. So like you walk in there and you find the person on the bed, like just like eviscerated. Oh wow! And he's like walking out of like the room, and like when you cross paths with him. So I wonder if that was like based off of like of this killer. Yeah,
I didn't see any of the grody details of what he did to this woman. I didn't look that.
No, I didn't want to know. I didn't do like the deep. I know that they were mutilated, and that's all I need to know.
This was the worst one, so I can only imagine maybe arms and limbs sawed off, insides completely ripped out. Things I don't want to imagine.
Don't need to know. And of course, like I feel
just go watch a Terrifier movie. I'm sure you can come up with a
yeah. And of course, we feel for these women, right? Obviously, when we tell the story about Jack the Ripper, we're not only telling like his side of the story. We're telling the story of like these women who were affected by it.
I feel like the victim should be more the story than Jack the Ripper.
Than Jack the Ripper.
Serial killers.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
it's terrible. I mean, there's like been a whole huge push for that. Like now it's like. People are starting to finally realize, like, when there's like mass shootings and things like that, they're not really talking about the serial killer; they're just talking about the victims, which rightfully so. It shows how it should be, like, because fuck those people.
It's like these things where like you have Ed Gein and Dahmer, and like they get these super high quality Netflix documentaries starring these famous actors, and so I was like, why are we doing that? Think of the families that were affected by like had to glorifying this person's work.
Yeah, right.
For network ratings,
for money and for ratings. Like do me the same thing, but like from the perspective of like the victim. You know, and exactly. Like celebrate their life.
All right, so I kind of want to move into why were they targeted. The Ripper did not necessarily target these women because of who they were, but likely because of the vulnerability and accessibility. All 5 women were living in quote-unquote common lodging houses. If you couldn't afford the 4p fee for a bed, you were turned out onto the street, like we had mentioned, and that's why one of them died. Because they lacked steady income, they often resorted to quote-unquote casual solicitation late at night to earn enough for a bed or a meal. This put them in a dark, secluded corner with strangers, the exact environment that the Ripper exploited. Most of the victims struggled with alcoholism, which was a common coping mechanism for the brutal life in the slums, and this likely made it easier for the killer to approach and overpower them quickly.
Which makes sense, right? You know, like if... Obviously, I think it's fair to say that whoever Jack the Ripper was, I think it's a fair assumption that he clearly was somebody who was very calculating and and this has premeditation like written all over it. You know, it is, so he, before he even came across these women,
those streets every night.
He was probably there and like kind of plotting everything out, and then he probably fixated on like these 5 women and was like studying them.
Either fixated or just knew like, hey,
studied them enough to understand.
In my 10 walks, 6 of the times I've walked through these streets, these 4 have been belligerently drunk.
Yeah, and like just this one
in the corner, sleeping in a doorway.
This one always struggles with alcohol here. This one here, like they always go here. You know, like so at least some working knowledge of. So like it makes complete sense that that they were targeted. I think that they were like. I don't think it was random. I think he probably picked out every single one of them and was like, okay.
What's interesting to me though is after 5, you still haven't been caught, and then it just stops.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing to me. Like, I don't know if it was premeditated, like he had these 5 specific ones in mind, and once he killed them, he was like, I'm good. I scratched that itch. I got rid of the ones that I wanted to get rid of. And now some people speculate that he thought of himself as like a dark vigilante cleaning up the streets, like almost like a Batman character.
Kind of, sort of, maybe.
Only, he's killing innocent women because they were quote unquote prostitutes or just like slum dwellers.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if there was like, I haven't come across this in any of the research, but, Victorian times, people are very still like religious, back during that time. So I wonder if this person, like the women that he was kind of going after, if he was like some religious like fanatic and was like, oh, I'm like quote unquote like doing God's work or whatever. I'm like cleaning up the streets by attacking, these like Jezebel, these drunken, like he probably thinking, basically, I wouldn't be surprised if that came up in there somehow.
Absolutely. I could see that. The environmental origins, if we want to talk about that a little bit, to understand why the murder started, you have to look at the great unrest of the East End. Influxes of Jewish and Irish immigrants led to extreme overcrowding. Whitechapel became a labyrinth of narrow alleys and unlit courts, creating the perfect hunting ground where a killer could vanish in seconds. Before the canonical 5, there were the Whitechapel murders, a series of attacks starting in early 1888. Women like Emma Smith and Martha Tabram were brutally killed, and while many historians believe these were gang-related or committed by a different person, they created a climate of fear that allowed the Ripper to emerge as a singular, terrifying urban legend. Because the killer was never caught, his motive remains the subject of intense psychological profiling, and most theories fall into 3 categories. The moral crusader, like I had mentioned, where he believed he saw himself as a dark vigilante cleansing the streets of what he perceived as moral decay. The surgical fetish, where the killer may have been someone obsessed with human anatomy who lacked the legal or social means to study it, such as a failed medical student or a black market butcher, and in this view the murders were means to harvest specimens for a macabre collection. Or, as you mentioned before, the royal conspiracy, where this is kind of one of those fringe theories that was popularized by author Stephen Knight and the film From Hell. This theory suggests that murders were not the work of a lone madman, but a high-level cover-up. Prince Albert Victor allegedly fathered a child with a commoner, and the Ripper, supposedly royal physician Sir William Gull, was sent to eliminate the witnesses. Protecting the crown and using Masonic ritual symbols to warn others was allegedly his motive, but most serious historians consider this theory to be pure fiction. Modern FBI profilers have retroactively analyzed the case, and they classify the Ripper as a disorganized or mixed serial killer. A personal crisis, a job loss, death of a mother, or a failed relationship likely triggered a long-simmering resentment. The increasing severity of the mutilations from Nichols to Kelly suggests the killer was no longer satisfied by the act of murder itself and required more extreme trophies to achieve psychological release.
So to go off of that, here's a little information like a couple theories of who the Ripper actually was. So the prime suspect, like the number one supposed individual, was Aaron Kosminski, who was a Polish immigrant and a barber living in Whitechapel, named by police at the time as a strong suspect. He suffered from mental illness and was later institutionalized. Why people think it was him? He lived in the exact area of the murders. He was known to have violent tendencies towards women, and some modern DNA claims shawl evidence, which was what I was talking about. So they found like a shawl semi-recently. Well, they didn't find it. They had it, but then they tested a blood sample on there, and supposedly it was one of the shawls taken from, I think, one of the women. I can't remember.
Oh, wow. Book it. It was him. He did it.
And they're like, oh, this was like, his DNA. But of course, that was so long ago, and they're like, okay, like they would have to like exhume his grave essentially and like compare it or whatever. I don't. So I mean, it's kind of
like, have to hope that you could find that same DNA across all 5 killings.
Maybe, yeah, like basically and essentially. So he was like he's the number one suspect. Why it might not be him? DNA evidence has its limitations, and you got to think back in 1888. The practices that they had for like keeping a crime scene clean is not what it was today. So like there's likely, it probably wasn't even there. So like it's likely that like whatever DNA we have was contaminated.
Oh yeah, they weren't using gloves.
Yeah, so there's no direct evidence actually tying him to the crimes. The next person was Montague John Druitt.
It was him.
The disappearing killer. He was an educated lawyer and a school teacher. He was found dead in the Thames shortly after the murder stopped.
Oh, see? Yep. It was him. Book him.
So why people suspect that it's him, the timelines line up. The murder stopped after his death. He was described as mentally unstable. Why it might not be him? There's no real evidence placing him in Whitechapel, and police suspicion was mostly circumstantial. And I'm going to add to that. He was a lawyer and a school teacher, and we have evidence that whoever was like making these killings was somebody that was probably surgically trained.
Yeah.
Like a medical professional or a butcher, something like that.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't like line up with like who he is.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, if you're a lawyer or a school teacher, you obviously had some access to some sort of higher education.
Maybe, yeah.
Could you have
like,
studied anatomy during that time?
Possibly.
Sure. Would you have had a precision like knowledge of this stuff that you could put it to use? I don't know.
Yeah. And then of course Taylor already mentioned about Prince Albert, and then the royal family. But yeah, supposedly the grandson of Queen Victoria. The theory that he was involved in a scandal with a woman, impregnated somebody, but the crown wanted to cover it up. Why people believe it? It adds drama, royalty, and secrets. It makes a good story and a good movie.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect plot for like a cover-up film.
Yeah, there's some sort of tie-in with like the Masons. The Masonic Temple was helping to stage these bodies too, and satanic rituals and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into 2 more here. George Chapman, the poisoner turned killer. He was a Polish barber. Real name was Severin Klosowski. Later became a confirmed serial killer who poisoned wives. Why he was the suspect? He had medical knowledge and he lived in Whitechapel. Why it might not be him though? The murders that he was known for were through poison as opposed to mutilation. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of loosely.
Okay, book him. It was him.
Just book everybody. Like, guilty. Get that motherfucker.
Gotta be one of them.
Walter Sickert, the artist theory. He was a famous.
I already don't like this guy. It's him.
Yeah, famous painter obsessed with dark, disturbing themes.
Yep.
Some claim his art reflects knowledge of the crimes. Why people believe it? His paintings are eerie and violent. DNA claims linked him to letters. Again, that's debated. And why this theory is weak. There's no solid evidence, again, placing him at the crime scenes, and relies heavily on interpretation. And then the last one, the butcher slaughterman theory. Not a specific person, but this is more of like a profile. Why it fits. Somebody who had skill with knives and quick cuts. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't look suspicious, covered in blood. Common profession in Whitechapel. Why it's compelling, it explains.
Honestly, I bet that place just smelled fucking terrible.
Oh, fucking terrible, dude. The killings and not. Oh yeah, dude, the 1800 Victorian era. Like, you got to think
that's like the Industrial Revolution too, where it's just sulfur and all kinds of other smells. And
there's a really good book out called Freakonomics, where it's like this economist, and he takes like current world events, and he like kind of tries to break them down through like an economist like point of view. And he takes on the whole like global warming thing, and he's like, I don't think global warming is as bad as it was like 100 years ago. And the whole change was, and he's saying it's like, yeah, is it getting hotter? Sure. But you got to think, I don't think cars and, current emissions are actually blowing it up as much as we think, because 100 years ago you had horses everywhere and there were like literally piles of shit like in the street, and like every city was like basically like a fucking dumpster essentially. Yeah. So all the fumes and shit, and people were relying more heavily on like fire and coal back then to like, so you're right. It was probably
like it describes London in the like it's just a constant layer of smog and smoke.
Yeah, exactly. So like it.
But just thinking of like dozens of butcher shops in the same row, just constantly just cranking out meat and it just smell terrible. I bet.
So then I'll wrap it up before Taylor takes it over with some of the hauntings for Jack the Ripper. But the bigger theory, or it's the potential that was Jack actually just one person, or was it like a group of people essentially that were kind of working in tandem to like.
Do you want to touch on the letters that were sent to the newspapers? There was 3 letters that started this whole theory that it was one guy. Yeah, first you had the Dear Boss letter, and then you had the Saucy Jackie postcard. Too bad that wasn't the name that stuck.
Yeah, so you have the Saucy Jackie postcard. It's referenced the double event, the 2 murders in one night. Claimed he didn't finish one victim due to interruption. Key details: the phrase double event wasn't public yet when it was received. Why that matters: this is one of the few letters that might contain real insider knowledge. Was it real? It's still debated. Some think it's genuine, others think it's another clever hoax. Mm-hmm. Then you have the From Hell letter, published on October 16th, 1888. It was sent to George Lusk. What it said, and if you look at it, it's kind of like, it looks like chicken scratch and like poor spelling. Claimed to have eaten half a human kidney. Said the other half was sent in the package. The twist: a real human kidney was included.
Yeah, it arrived with a small box containing half a human kidney preserved in wine.
Yeah. Why it's the most chilling: it matches Catherine Eddowes, whose kidney was removed. The writing style is very different, less polished, but more chaotic. Was it real? Many believe that it is the most likely authentic communication, but even the kidney evidence isn't 100% confirmed.
And I think it's the most accurate one because it didn't use the famous moniker, which lends more credibility among researchers who suggest the real killer may have had no interest in the name the media had chosen for him. Yeah. So the other 2 were signed Jack the Ripper. This one was not.
Yeah. The bigger picture here. So letter mania. We'll edit that part out.
The Dear Boss letter is the one that started it all. It was the first. The name first appeared in a letter received by the Central News Agency on September 27th, 1888, nearly a month after the first canonical murder happened. Written in red ink, the author mocked the police, calling them Leather Apron, which probably was like the sickest burn of all time back then. A name the press had already penned on a local suspect, and famously stated, "I am down on whores and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled." It ended with "Yours truly, Jack the Ripper."
Well, and to add to that too, so around this time, which I don't know why this happens, but so police received hundreds of letters claiming to be from the killer. Most were obvious hoaxes. The press fueled the chaos by publishing them. And of course, this only really added to distract from the investigation, kind of created the killer's mythos, and encouraged copycats and attention seekers, which... if you guys follow anything about serial killers, like you know that once it becomes sensationalized, phones are blowing up. Oh, yeah. I think it's my neighbor, like I think it's so and so up the street,
It's the person that did me wrong yesterday at the dollar store.
It was the motherfucker that cut me off in traffic. He's the killer.
I think it's my landscaper. He didn't cut my grass the right way. I feel like he's out there murdering people now.
I think it's my landlord.
I think it's my bitch mother-in-law.
It's my landlord that rent's due tomorrow. It's definitely him. Yeah. It's definitely that guy.
I got your 10 pence right here, buddy.
Yeah, if you wanna his address is here. If you wanna pay him a visit.
Sure he's got a dead body in his room right now. I don't know how it got there.
but I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So if you can get there, sometime tonight.
Between now and Tomorrow morning, 3 a.m.
Before 2 a.m.
Before he kicks me out on the street. That's what we do around here. We just kick people out at 2 in the morning.
That's when my rent's due. You can, do a public service, please.
Don't be a leather apron.
Yeah.
I bet that's like calling him a fucking pig. You fucking leather apron. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is some of the alleged hauntings and eerie locations that have spun off from the Ripper locations. So the first one is the 10 Bells Pub, located on Commercial Street. This was a frequent haunt for Annie Chapman and Mary Jane Kelly. Staff and patrons have reported seeing a man in Victorian dress and experienced unexplained cold spots in the upper floors. The next is Mitre Square, the site of Catherine Eddowes' murder. Legends say that on the anniversary of her death, September 30th, a glow or a faint outline of a body appears in the corner where she was found. On Durward Street, formerly Bucks Row, this was where Polly Nichols was found, and pedestrians often report a feeling of being watched or an overwhelming sense of dread when walking the street late at night. On Hanbury Street, though the house where Annie Chapman was killed is gone, locals have claimed to see a dark, shadowy figure standing near the spot of the old backyard.
I don't like any of that. That sounds fucking awful. That sounds like a nightmare waiting to happen.
Most of the sightings of the victims are reported as anniversary ghosts or localized cold spots where the bodies were discovered. So before the area was redeveloped into a brewery and later a car park, workers frequently reported a strange chill every September 8th at the Annie Chapman house on Hanbury Street. Some claim to see a ghostly woman standing exactly where the backyard of number 29 used to be. One of the more famous legends is said that on the anniversary of the double event, the cobblestones in the corner where Catherine Eddowes was found begin to glow a faint red. Some witnesses even claim to have seen a spectral figure lying on the ground, only for it to vanish when approached.
I would just die at that point. Just kill me.
Well, it's just glowing red bricks and a dissonant body.
That's enough. Then that's all I need. I'm good. I'll just die.
Yeah, well. And then the 10 Bells Pub, Mary Jane Kelly's ghost is said to haunt there. She was seen there the night she died, and some staff had reported seeing a blonde woman in Victorian dress peering through the windows or standing in the corner of the bar. The actual ghost stories involving the Jack the Ripper person or persona is described more as a presence rather than a visual apparition. Also in the 10 Bells, while the pub is linked to the victims, there are many reports of a malevolent male spirit. A former landlord once found a box of belongings from a man named George Roberts. Ever since, staff had reporting being pushed on the stairs or seeing a man in a skull cap, the same description witnesses gave of the man seen with Annie Chapman before she died. On the Westminster Bridge, one of the most eerie Ripper legends doesn't even take place in Whitechapel. Every New Year's Eve at the stroke of midnight, a shadowy figure is said to emerge on Westminster Bridge and throw himself into the Thames. This is linked to the suspect Montague John Druitt, whose body was found in the river shortly after the murder stopped.
It was him. It was that motherfucker.
Book him. Perhaps the most unsettling paranormal claim comes from the site of Miller's Court, where Mary Jane Kelly lived. Even though the original building is gone, locals and ripperologists have occasionally reported hearing a single curdling cry of murder at approximately 4 a.m. on cold November mornings. This matches the exact time the neighbors in 1888 reported hearing a cry, but ignored it, thinking it was just a typical street row. There you go. A couple of interesting hauntings going on over there. What's fascinating to me is that after the Ripper murders happened, and especially after World War II, the London people were so embarrassed of the Jack the Ripper story that it got so far that they ended up kind of just tearing all that stuff down. So it doesn't look anything like it used to look back then. It's like all built up with office buildings and car parking lots and all kinds of stuff.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's new to me.
Yeah, so there's only one building, I believe, or one row, like one of the rows where I think it was house number 29 where one of them lived. That's still there, but it's something different now. And then one of the big buildings where I want to say the first victim was found behind it is still there. The other places have been pretty much paved over. I think there's a garden where one of the victims was found, like in the backyard. There's a garden there, but there's no memorials or anything like that. It's just a big old business park.
Let's just erase this out of our history.
Yeah, pretty much. Like World War II bombings there took out a lot of those buildings, but they wanted to get rid of the slums anyway, so they just kind of paved it over, erased it out of history, but Jack the Ripper still lives on. That's where we're at in today's episode of Shadows and Sightings. So that all being said, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Shadows and Sightings. We'll catch you on next time, but make sure you catch us on social media, Shadows and Sightings, a paranormal podcast on Facebook, Shadows and Sightings pod on Instagram, or send us an email, shadowsandsightings@gmail.com. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, hit us up with your cryptid corner facts, your spooky stories, anything that you want to share with us that will make it onto an episode of this podcast. As always, share with your friends, give us a good review, keep listening, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time when we talk about all things spooky.